All right, about to go live here any second. Just waiting for the cue, and I think we're live. What's up, YouTube? So the plan is apparently set. I don't know if this is a joke or if this is serious, but the numbers keep growing of the people that are signed up to do this storming of Area 51, and I think it's going to be on May 15th, 2020. Interesting. That would be I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff armed with pebbles. Personally, I think if everyone came with the drones and did like a massive drone flyover, they might be able to get some like crazy footage of the base that no one's ever got before. I don't know. They'd probably have something to shoot them all down, I swear, and arrest like everybody, you know. But they're going to have security there beefed up for sure this day, whether anything happens or not. This is definitely gotten some attention. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea. What are you going to learn? You know, even if you did get in there and got in something, you know, like what are you going to find out? Like someone going to live stream the alien bodies, dude? They'd come in and like block. They'd put like a feedback thing that would just and some kind of interference bug that would just disrupt all the transmissions, and they would just they have that technology, and they would just shut down your cell phone and your stream, and I don't know. This is not going to go anywhere, guys. I can tell you, I come up with a list of at least 3 other places that you could look for evidence of extraterrestrials that would be a lot more worthwhile and safer than storming the Area 51, you know, the Groom Lake complex. So let's talk about some of those for a second. One of the places on the list would be Bigelow Aerospace. Bigelow has all the contracts now with the U.S. Air Force for all the UFO reporting. The UFO reporting for the military goes straight to Bigelow Aerospace now. He's the UFO desk for the military. He's got some contracts going on. He's involved with this whole To the Stars thing, and that he was involved in the whole ATIP thing too, and getting the funding for that. Him and the senator from his state who funded that are very close friends and very into this topic and this stuff. Bigelow Aerospace, they're building some interesting stuff down there, but the question is like, they got some other stuff. There's a lot of belief that there's some other research going on there. That a lot of the classified research. Another thing too, I wanted to point out is that really there's a lot of stuff was moved out of Area 51 back in 1989 when Bob Lazar basically turned that place into UFO Mecca, a giant tourist attraction. So there's plenty of room out in if you go to Area 51, you know, on Google Maps. There's plenty of that's not Area 51. And people can see my address. I don't give a fuck. You can know where I live. I don't care. Come see me. Come dox me. I don't care. Las Vegas, Area 51 up here. There's lots of room out here. China Lake, you know, Tonopah, Sandia. There's a lot of other secret facilities where a lot of people believe that stuff was moved to, which I don't think they really have a lot at Area 51 anymore. It's one of the most watched spots out there. So there's a lot of other places where stuff goes on, including San Clemente Island, which a lot of people don't know about. But it's 60 miles from where that encounter was with the Tic Tac, or one of them anyway. There's a couple different videos out there that are going around with some debunks and some sourcing that have been done on those. The other one's in the Atlantic, I guess. It's not even over here, but apparently the whole Tic Tac incident occurred right near this. And this is like Area 51. If you look at this place, I've done another video where I talked about this base before, but San Clemente Island is like the perfect spot if you're going to test UFOs. It's out in the ocean. It's just away from everything. It's the spot. You know, if you can't pick a better spot than that, it's way better than Area 51. They don't test anything there anymore because people watch it too much, and it's too too much of a tourist attraction. So yeah, Bigelow Aerospace was number 3 on the list. Another interesting place I thought would be worthwhile if people really wanted to get some conspiracy information. I don't know if it's really you'd find any alien or UFO stuff, but right here in New Haven at Yale campus, there's a place called the Skull and Bones Tomb. And it would be really interesting if a group of people got together and fucking busted down the doors of that place and raided that place and just got like a live video of everything that's in there. I bet they got like shrines to all the murders that they've committed over the years and or something, man. There's got to be some crazy shit inside that place. But you'd need like they got like huge iron doors. You'd need like a real serious team to really bust into that place and get it. But man, that's something I'd really like to see more than someone busting into Area 51. And number 1 on the list has to be, I don't know if I want to see if anyone has any other ideas for where would be a better place to if we could all get together and do a massive fucking raid and get some UFO stuff. Where would be the best place to do that? What about the Vatican? You know, the Vatican, man. If we all got a team together and stormed the Vatican, I bet you I've heard like stories about the Vatican that they hire these scholars who are translators, and they go in and look at all the old scriptures, and then they translate everything, and it ends up being this whole story about aliens. And they fire the guy, and they say, no, you can't work for us anymore, and we want someone else who can provide a different translation, different interpretation, of the scripture, and basically they change it around to make it all about, about God, and they change every reference to these sky beings and these creatures. It's all alien worship, man. All this religion goes back. All religions that you can think of are basically alien worship, if you look at them. The Mecca, I was just talking about Mecca. They worship a black rock that fell from the sky. It's a meteorite. These people, it's all alien worship and all this stuff hidden inside the basement of the Vatican, man. I wouldn't even know I haven't done enough research on the Vatican, really, but there are people who know about this stuff and do some research and put a team together. I would love to see some people fucking storm the Vatican and get some and just steal, but it's crazy because it would just be like it would be like the Vandals or the Goths, sacking the place and just destroying everything. Here's the Vatican City. So I don't think I'd want to see that. Really, the right way to do it would be to force them to like release the stuff and get it out there, but it's not, how's that ever going to happen? It's so protected and stuff, but how do you get to that information? It's definitely an interesting, thought. A lot of these conversations have been going on in the past couple of days since this joke of a Area 51 raid has been coming up. But I still think it's friggin'. I think it's a horrible idea. I know, right? Breaking and entering is just never really a good idea, even if it is for this good cause and stuff. I'd really like to see the information get out through some other way, forced, some kind of disclosure that's going to happen where you can, I feel like it's just the point is the world is like there's people who aren't ready for this and for the information and the transformation that's about to occur. It's kind of crazy, but hey, you know what? I got a bunch of stuff that just came out. All the stuff that I've been talking about, right? More stuff just came out today, and I'm gonna find the link to this right now. You can search for this if you search for liquid light. Man, I don't even know where to begin with all the stuff that's been going on. What I want to talk about. Some stuff I don't even know if I want to talk about it or should talk about it just yet. This liquid light, man. Paper was just published on this today. They created a room temperature superfluid of liquid light. Superfluid. Dude, check this out. Room temperature superfluidity in a polariton condensate and it was published 5th of June. But the article came out, the Polariton superfluids. You guys can look this up. And this article right here was on Science Alert. For the first time, scientists achieved liquid light at room temperature. Oh, this was from 2017. This is even older. I didn't even realize. I thought this just came out. It's a year old. That's crazy. But anyways, this is new to a lot of people. This is the real deal with what's going on out there at Area 51. By the way, I'm jumping right into some really advanced physics stuff, and I really should backpedal and kind of this video is not for those type of people, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself. This video is for the people that are really just curious about what's inside Area 51, and if you probably found this guy Bob Lazar before. And he's been all over Joe Rogan. And I've done a lot of research into Bob Lazar, just basically trying to track down all the sources for his claims. So he talks about this, and I try to just go back and find anything I can for sourceable information from the time era and from other programs or anything related to it that you can find. This is what I do with my analysis and the research that I do, is you look through the science and you try to find stuff. And I basically tracked down and sourced, I think, just about every single claim that Bob Lazar has ever. I found all his sources, and I found links to like the real where he got all this stuff from. And it just doesn't look good for Bob, man. The more I keep finding, the more I keep looking at it and stuff. And people know that I'm hardcore on this Bob Lazar stuff because I researched it for a very long time. Wasted a lot of years, a lot of time on this case. But hey, I've done the research and I have all the information, so I decided to put it all together and officially, and in one place for people to really find it. I'm really working on. My problem is I get so much information. I'm an analyst and I fight this information war in the trenches, basically, through my own freaking computer desk, where I go out and I analyze information and we pick it apart and we try to give feedback. I try to give my feedback on it. We try to find the best new and coolest new information, bring and expose that and talk about that kind of stuff, and also show the bad stuff and give analysis. All right, I'm fighting an information war on the front lines, man, and it's a brutal place to be, because I get trolls, I get haters, I get bashers, I get all kinds of stuff, and I've pissed off so many people over the years that have written negative reviews on me. So now all these new people like, who's this guy who's been around for 15 years, and they start Googling me to try to find information about me, and they're reading, all my haters, basically writing these negative reviews of me, and that's the impression that these people get of me, because that's the stuff that's being written out there. And I don't care. Drama is not what I'm interested in. I know it's not why I do this. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for drama. I do this for the truth, and I do this for the information, and getting closer to understanding how these things work, and understanding the science of it all, and really digging in. And what I've done here is really gone through all the Bob Lazar stuff, and I'm putting more on there. I'm getting. This is going to be launched officially on Friday. I'm going to put a real video together and launch this. But BobLazarDebunk.com, and then I got this real tech. I'm putting this whole thing together because I've been talking about quasicrystals and metamaterials and how this stuff is the future. This is the real alien technology, but it's not aliens, because I went and researched this like really thoroughly, like kind of like the day after Roswell. Philip Corso wrote that book about, he had this whole theory that all this stuff was recovered from Roswell, and that we developed this technology from Roswell. And I've tried to, I've tried to do the debunking of that, because I as a scientist, I feel like, saying that it's all aliens really does an insult, and it's a disservice to the scientists who worked on the real programs and did the real research. Some of it, their work was classified their entire life. They couldn't talk about it. And now we're finding out about it because it's been declassified. Like Project Rainbow is a big one that I discovered in a lot of my research into the real stuff that's going on out there at Area 51. And Project Rainbow, very interesting stuff came out of Project Rainbow. all the I'm going to do a whole summary on this. I got to do a video on this and put it like in a, and I want to do like a nice, well-produced video because there's a lot of real complex information that needs to be organized and properly presented in order for people to really get it and understand it all. But I got the real projects involved that they worked on out there. That if Bob Lazar was hired to reverse engineer or work on these types of high level SAPs or special access programs, that he would have been involved in this type of research. This is the type of research that they were doing out there. This is the type of research that is the future, that is going to lead to warp drive and already has built invisibility cloaks out of this technology. That's what this was all about, is creating cloaking technology for the U-2 spy plane, and others. The Project Oxcart, the SR-71 Blackbird. So there's a lot of science that went into this. And my goal with this Bob Lazar thing has been to really show people the truth, because he gets all the attention to about Area 51. He gets so much attention, and he's on Joe Rogan, and everyone's talking about Bob Lazar. But it's crazy. I start talking about metamaterials and quasi-crystals, and there's no conversation. The conversation stops, and people would rather talk about the element 115 and then argue back and forth and get into these endless, pointless debates over nothing. My whole thing, I've been researching this stuff, trying to figure it out for years, and I'm always open source. I'm always sharing the best of my research with people, showing them what they get wrong and showing them some of the right stuff and showing them the real information. And people don't really react to that quite well. I had this one guy I've been going off on recently. I'm gonna cover it. Why not? I'm gonna talk about it because it's kind of bothering me. Read a bunch of these articles about this Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, and these Silicon Valley's UFO hunters right here. This Vice article was about the Silicon Valley. I almost want to contact the author and be like, hey, I went and been looking into these guys, well, one of them anyway, one of these dudes from this group here. He's on Facebook, and I've actually had a couple interactions with him about the Bob Lazar stuff before, and I didn't even realize it. I looked back at some of my old stuff, and I realized I've been talking to this guy. But man, I've been going like at it with this dude. People like saying that we've been going back and forth, and it's pretty friggin' ridiculous. He's got a whole bunch of followers, way more followers than me. I have jack for followers on Twitter. No, like I swear I post stuff on my feed, and I post all these articles, and there's no likes. See, I got 955 followers, but nobody sees this key like science stuff that I post. Like I posted all these links about all this academic science and aerospace interest in real anti-gravity technology and research. I post all these links right on my Twitter, and I get one like. I get no views on any of this stuff. This dude's done like zero research, but he gets all this coverage in these press, like he gets these articles written about him, so he gets all these crazy followers. But they see his stuff, and then they're like trolls attacking me, because I'm debunking Bob Lazar, and they get all like butthurt about it and stuff. But I'm just going on this guy and like arguing with him about Bob Lazar. He's supposedly the physicist and the engineer for this UFO program. These Silicon Valley guys are going to build these UFOs, and he's like the guy. But I'm talking to him about some physics stuff, and I shared a bunch of this, like real stuff with him, and he just right over his head, and he's just arguing with me, and like wants to like pin me as he's trying to like basically, I don't know. I really feel like this guy's part of the deep state intelligence or something, man. It really bugs me, because like, how is it that some guy like this is doing nothing and getting this argument with me on Twitter about this stuff, and I don't know, it's just stupid, man. This is the guy, and I really am not at all impressed with this guy at all. He's just like, okay, I didn't say that. Every art, he just doesn't get any like anything straight. He's just really like, I don't know. This guy's really just dumb though. But all these articles are being written about these people as being these guys out in Silicon Valley that are building UFOs and stuff. And these dudes don't have a fucking clue about the physics behind it or any of the information or the intel. And it's just like arguing with it's arguing with these millennials, man. These millennials, these young kids. This kid, he was 3 years old when I was, starting my research into this stuff. And it's just disgusting seeing like what's happened. The amount of brainwashing that has gone on in the past 30 years. This whole new generation is completely like brain dead or something. It's just, you can't, like, it's like pearls before swine. I could post here and share like all the real physics information and put it all out there. And these people are just like, oh, you're an idiot who thinks you know it all. This is the meme he posted back to me. It was fucking Homer Simpson. It was the GIF. Everyone's stupid except me is what it said. We'll find this. Yeah, so it's this Homer Simpson. Everybody's stupid except me. It was something like that. It wasn't that one, but it was another one. And I'm just like, dude, I have an IQ of 150. Like, I'm no Homer Simpson, bro. You're fucking Homer Simpson, if anything. Like, ridiculous, man. Like, at least the shit I write about is like, I'm after the truth. I get shit wrong. Yeah, I'm on the front lines of the information war. And you're going to bring up every little thing I've gotten wrong and throw it in my face like I'm some kind of, like I'm putting out bad information? Bro, there's bad information everywhere. This fucking field is absolutely filled to the brim with utter bullshit and trash, okay? 95% of the crap out there is absolute rubbish bullshit, dude. I don't even like scroll. I can't even scroll Facebook or Twitter anymore because the stuff I see is just so stupid compared to the real shit that I'm looking into and really researching that's not anywhere to be found on any of those feeds. And when I post stuff about it there, it disappears completely because it's either A, too high of an intellectual level above what people can really understand, or it's being shadow banned, B. That's the only other explanation I can get for why it doesn't get the coverage or the attention that it deserves. This information I'm dropping is pure fucking gold. It is the absolute fucking creme de la creme of fucking 20 years of my life that I fucking did not flush down the fucking toilet. I did not waste that time. I'm on the fucking cutting edge of this shit. I know more about this than fucking half these people getting media coverage or on fucking Ancient Aliens or fucking any of these programs talking. Half the people I watched that spoke and lectured at AlienCon don't know shit. Don't know jack fucking shit compared to what I can fucking share. All right, I'm sitting and I talked to all these documentary filmmakers. Like I met UFO TV at AlienCon, right? And those guys just get that same impression of me, that I'm just some fucking guy who thinks he knows it all, bro. Like I'm not. Like I know more shit than fucking you. I'll tell you that. 90% of you, and I do get shit wrong. I do mix stuff up, man. I go on fucking rages with this stuff. But guess what? Nobody out there is talking about the shit that I've been talking about. I was talking about this stuff 15 fucking years ago. Quasi-crystals and metamaterials. That's going to be the future, bro. I'm telling you. I had an argument with this dude, and this dude called me, like, all these people following this Deep Prasad fucking guy, calling me an idiot. Like, and I took screenshots of these motherfuckers because that's going to be in the history books someday. You know what? Because when Bob Lazar's Element 115 turns out to be absolutely fucking nothing, and nothing in 100 years from now, nothing ever comes, no stable isotopes ever found, nothing ever comes out of that. All right? And the real truth comes out with all this metamaterial stuff. All the future technology is going to be, polariton lasers, polariton condensates, these liquid polariton superconductors, polariton superfluids. This is the fucking future, man. It's all light. It's all light technology. And I've been saying it for 15 fucking years, and people are calling me an idiot and comparing me to fucking Homer Simpson, man. Shove it up your ass, bro. Oh my god. Calm down. Calm down, dude. Like, I get these people freaking idiots debating with me, and then I get other idiots being like, oh, this guy clearly won the debate, you know? And I'm not even trying to debate. I'm just trying to share a little bit of information and, like, you know, have you look at it. And this dude's starting to debate with me. I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, I'm going to misinterpret what you said about room temperature superconductors. And, you know, like, come on, dude. Look at the links I shared with you. Like, pay attention to the science. Stop trying to just fucking massage your ego. It's clearly what you've done. Like, I did some research on this dude right here. All right? Deep Prasad, okay? He thinks he's friggin' Einstein. Look up Deep Prasad Einstein. Could this first-year undergraduate be the next Einstein? You know? This is the kid. Welcome to the world, kid. Good luck fucking ignoring real people who have real information to share with you. All right? That's all I gotta say. Good luck. Keep listening to Jeremy Corbell and Bob Lazar, dude. Those guys know what's going on. You saw the documentary he made, right? On Bob. You know? Get the hell out of here, dude. Ridiculous, bro. Yeah, IQ's a stupid friggin' thing. If you were to put a number on intelligence, because everyone has different levels of intelligence and different things they're good at, you know? Like, I'm really good at certain things, but I'm a fucking retard when it comes to other things. You know what I mean? And everybody's like that. You know, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. So that's all I got to say. You know, I know what I'm good at, and I know, you know, and obviously I know where I have some of my weaknesses, and, you know, my character, my personality, you know, that's just who I am, and I don't care if people like me. That's the biggest problem I have, is I don't care if people like me, and I don't care if people really don't understand me. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not here for you. If you don't understand me, then, you know, that's your own problem, and you can go and misinterpret, you know, and go anywhere you want with this. But I'm here to put information together and really get real information out. And I'm on a research mission because I want to know. I want to know the truth. Is there aliens out there? Did we really recover this technology from extraterrestrials? It doesn't look like it to me. The research I've done, I source every. It's all about. This is sorcery. It's all about your sources. This is real life sorcery, and finding, you know, tracking down where information came from. And you look at all this metamaterial stuff, and I can trace it back to all these classified programs, and I get a list of all the scientists, their names. You can look up their papers. I'm trying to put this massive summary together, because this is the real stuff, and this is what Bob should have worked on. This is what Ed Fouché worked on, that he saw, that he talked about. I think he got that information from this guy right here, and I talk about that right here, about, you know, how Gerald in Ed's book Alien Rapture, this book. Let me find it. I got it up here. Alien Rapture. So this book is basically like, it's like a really bad storyline with a bunch of military guys that just get around and brag about how much they know about classified programs. That's what the book basically is. It's a bunch of military guys getting around and bragging about how much they know about classified stuff, and it's all like printed and written out. But it's a really, really bad, loose storyline. So that's basically what the book is. It's meant to be like a disclosure book, but it's, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if that TR3B is real, man. I keep, like, people send me stuff about it, and I want to believe in it, but I really haven't seen any evidence for that. And I don't know if that was disinformation that was given to Ed, because none of his science that he talked about with relation to that MHD, that mercury plasma drive, makes any sense. Except for, like, it kind of sounds like the rotating superconductor stuff, but it's not even close to the real science involved in what's going on in those experiments to make those effects that were observed. So it's I don't believe that, but I know that he talked to Hal Puthoff. I have emails that he sent me of conversations back and forth that he had with Hal, including one where Hal talks about how much of a fraud Bob Lazar is. These guys both know Bob's a total fraud. But anyways, in the book, his main scientist, who's the source for a lot of his stuff in the book, the scientist's name is Gerald. And I'm thinking Gerald is Harold. That's what I've come to determine, because Harold Putoff is Gerald in his book. That's what I've come to determine from my research. And I have other reasons to believe that too. But I won't get into that right now. Anyways, I wish I could read these comments and focus on what I'm doing at the same time. I'm sure there's some really good stuff in there. I'm going to go back after the video and read and go through. How's everyone doing out there tonight anyway? It's 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. Give me a shout out. No, another thing I got to do is get these. I want to create these. What's it called? The money, where you get the money bond, where people can do those super chats. I gotta set the super chat up soon, so people can send me money and get their comments to the top, because I can't read everyone's comment, you know. And that would be great to get people super chats, because then I could be like, oh, there's someone who just gave me money. I'm definitely gonna answer your question and see what you had to say now. But they demonetized my channel, so I can't do that. I have to fight for that back. I'm still waiting for the copyright strikes. They should be up this month, in a couple days, because thanks to Jeremy Corbell and his crew. That I know why they're doing it, man. I'm costing them tons of money because people aren't watching their film now, and they're not buying the Bob Lazar stuff. So I'm costing them money, you know. That's why they're out. They don't want me. Oh, did you see the recent article Jeremy Corbell put out, where he lies through, like, complete? The guy's such a liar, man. It was on Extraordinary Beliefs, his website. He put out a new article on here, man. I gotta find that story. I think it's in stories. July 9th. Yeah, this is the one. Oh yeah, so this is where he tries to address some of the debunkers and all this stuff, and comes up with this whole new idea on Site 4 and S4 and what S4 was, and he's just twisting the story around to try to fit the facts, because he knows, like, he's been called out and hammered so bad on this bullshit story that he's still trying to push. But man, this guy's I swear, I wonder if there's some disinformation thing behind this. And I want to show you the really cool thing that we found on Bob recently, man. This is gonna shock a few people, I think. I gotta find this. Oh my god, I got a million freaking tabs open. No, that's not it. Come on, man. Nope. Oh shit, is this my other chat from the other night? I had a freaking video. Sorry, man. I have this open, but I want to show you guys this video that Dan was going through research, looking up everything in the 1988 to 1989, the years leading up to Bob Lazar's disclosure, and he found this thing on Alejandro Rojas's channel, where it was UFO 1988. I think it maybe is. You can look up. No, that's not enough for it to find it. Let me find this. I had a link to it. I don't know why it's not open. I got too many tabs open. That's why I was trying to get everything ready for this. But I have a new a video that came out. I gotta find this and show people. This is key stuff. Now, you know what? I'm gonna save this for Friday, when we do like or Saturday, whichever day I get Dan together. We're gonna do an hour special where we're gonna go over all the stuff on this Bob Lazar debunk page. After I get it all set up and ready, we're gonna go through all the evidence and kind of just do like a summary of all the materials that just like show where he got them. Oh, here it is. It's right here. It's on the page right here. 1988 TV special on UFOs, and it reveals it's got all the Bob stuff in there, where all his intel. So this guy right here talking. To keep track. This is from 1988. It came out a couple months before Bob Lazar. Scientifically and
in a way that would advance our technology. There are government officials and elected officials that are
So this guy right here,
in existence.
that's apparently Richard Doty. All right, we got a list of the aviary members that took place in this did the interviews here that were their faces were blacked out. Some believe it's we're pretty sure it's Richard Doty. That guy's one of the most notorious U.S. Air Force disinformation experts of all time, and he's on this program right before Bob Lazar, like a half a year before Bob Lazar. Bob must have seen this on TV and got. I have two theories on this. It's either there's two theories because it talks about the government Bible. He talks about Area 51, the Janet flights, the MJ-12 stuff, and also the small alien grays from Zeta Reticuli. Talks all about that stuff, and that's the stuff that wound up in Bob's story. So I wonder, they have two theories on this. That I tend to believe the first one more. The first theory is that Bob watched this program when it aired on television, that he watched this, probably recorded it even, and watched and studied it, and that he used information from it to elements from the story to put into his story. Now it's interesting because the Zeta Reticuli stuff, it comes from the Betty and Barney Hill case. They supposedly got abducted by aliens from Zeta Reticuli. So it's interesting that Doty would insert that part of the stuff inside this whole thing, because Doty's whole purpose was to basically cover up classified research Air Force programs by telling people about aliens and making people think it was all aliens, and that was sort of his goal, and that's what he was doing back in 1988, going on this television program, is spreading disinformation for the U.S. Air Force Special Operations Unit, to make people think that aliens were behind all these things they were seeing flying around, so that people wouldn't dig too much into the truth or go asking other questions. They'd be on a whole different planet and a whole different mental state of thinking, mental train of thought and focus. And that's how brainwashing works. That's how to get people to not focus on real stuff, is you distract them and get them to look somewhere else. And so this whole thing that Doty was doing, putting out the government Bible and stuff, it makes me wonder if Bob really did get hired by EG&G after that interview where they asked him about John Lear, knew his connection with John Lear. It makes no sense why they would hire a guy like Lazar, who was clearly fishing for intel for John Lear, or even just knowing John Lear is a bad thing, because John Lear is going to go asking him about what he did out there. And Rick Doty's a bad guy, and apparently Jeremy Corbell, Kenyon Lockyer, calls him his pal. So that's his pal. With George Knapp, and I don't know why you would call this freaking asshole, flaming piece of shit your friend or your pal, but it's I would never call that guy my pal. That guy made someone kill themselves because he fed them lies until they just lost it, dude. And he's been part of the truth embargo. And it makes me wonder, I have a new theory on Lazar because of this information that we found, this whole 1988 thing with the same government Bible, Area 51, MJ-12, and the small alien grays from Zeta Reticuli. Maybe Bob did get hired and he went out to work at Area 51. They brought him out there, showed him some real stuff, but fed him complete disinformation. He could have been part of Richard Doty's, special operations thing, that they picked Lazar as their mark. And I don't think that theory is as plausible, because I just don't think that we have interviews with the Area 51 security base commander from Area 51, who is the base commander for all those years, for 15 years before Bob Lazar worked there, and through that entire time period. We have the interview. I know someone who has the interview, who's been doing research on this case and flying around and going and interviewing people and doing real research on this, that's coming out with this. We're going to start working on it in October, I think. I've been providing him with some information and resources and leads for his investigation in the film. But just know that this whole Bob Lazar thing is going to get scooped, and it's going to come down real hard eventually. You know, this is just the start of it. And Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, you might as well just tap out and give up now, because it's over. It's over. Once this comes out in this documentary and the interviews that this guy did come out and all the people that he interviewed, it's going to devastate Bob Lazar's story completely. We got people from Los Alamos, we got people from Area 51, the Roadrunners guys. We're going after this hard, and I don't care if people don't want to believe it. A lot of people aren't going to want to believe it, but it's the truth, and that's why we're getting it and putting it all together. But we have the base commander of Area 51 saying that, you know, Bob's a liar. He never worked out there. He doesn't know, never heard of the guy, doesn't know anything about him. So we got some pretty powerful stuff but it still makes me think, you know, it makes me more lean toward the hypothesis that Bob saw this on TV and that he's promoted it. And then I had asked another question: why has the U.S. Air Force never officially denounced and put out a debunk on Bob Lazar? It's kind of weird, you know. They put out a whole thing on Roswell, and they put out the Project Mogul, and they said that Project Mogul was really a weather balloon, was really what was recovered. So why haven't they never put out an official thing on Bob Lazar? And I think the reason is because he copied so much of U.S. Air Force counterintelligence, and that the Air Force leave him alone. They leave him alone because he works to their advantage. He works towards their counterintelligence disinformation objectives by telling people that, you know, oh, it's element 115, and we need a particle accelerator the size of the solar system to make the stuff if we ever hope to get anti-gravity. But the only way to do that is to launch a whole bunch of stuff into space with rockets. No, that's not what's going on. It's not at all what's happening. And we also got the hand scanners. We found it in a 1973 radio electronics magazine. So the hand scanners, we got everything on here. And if there's anything we missed, it's coming soon. It should be on here soon, or send it to us, and we'll put something together for you. But we're getting this whole thing nailed, and we're doing the real research and the real journalism. There's a lot of other journalists that have written articles, and we actually have a collection of the ones that have been written by real journalists over the years that have gone in. You know, people have done a lot of the research already. Like this one article I have that we're going to post has like, they did a whole research on every job that Bob ever had, his whole like history, and like how he never could have worked out there and stuff. Yeah, but it's all small. It's all smoke and mirrors, dude. It's that particle accelerator is a joke, man. It's not super heavy. If you want to make things super light, you don't use things that are super heavy. I'm sorry, dude. Like, your science doesn't make sense. It's just junk. There's so much more real stuff going on. That liquid light, dude, how about that? Polariton, I wanted to show you guys the Polariton superfluid. This is some real physics. This is some real stuff. You'll find a lot of interesting physics. You'll find papers. You look up element 115 and that stuff, you don't find, you know, anything. You don't find anything related to nothing. This is you'll find a lot of classified programs related to this. Even you won't find anything about it, but unless you look in the right places, like. But anyways, this stuff is what's going to come out. I guarantee you, there's almost Manhattan scale project operations going on to get this technology and scoop it. Because this is related to this is related to quantum computing. They can build quantum computers with it once they understand how to build this stuff. Like, this is a key technological strategic advantage, and we're definitely working on building this stuff and trying to scoop the technology ahead of the Russians. And it's not element 115, man. It's all this stuff. I've been telling you for years. No. People don't want to listen, or they don't understand the science, so they're just like, oh, it's not as fun, not as cool to think about or look at as the, you know, Bob talking about seeing that something small through the window. You know, people want to hear about the aliens. Talk about the aliens, Bob. You know, it's just I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. Right. It's again, it's just madman. Dude, you know what, bro? Even Einstein wiped his ass, you know? We're all human, bro. Like, and Einstein's, it's just he's become the guy, you know? I mean, personally, I think personally Richard Feynman was a way more brilliant physicist. I like his personality. I like his style and his character way better than Einstein. I think he was way smarter. Um, Einstein got lucky with the right theories at the right time and worked with the right people, and a lot of lesser names did a lot of great work that was published through Einstein. You know, a lot of the real great work Einstein did was really his colleagues using, working with him to publish this stuff through him using his name, because his name was, Einstein. Man, it just worked. It clicked. It's one of those things. But the more you listen to me, the more you believe Bob Lazar. That's pretty silly. Because, I went looking for anything I could find on his reactor core. And what I found was a 1989 movie called Fat Man and Little Boy that came out that talks about this demon core where these scientists were killed. And if you look at this, this is the new setup that they built. This is probably at the, I would assume that he went to the Los Alamos History Museum, and I bet you this is somewhere at the Los Alamos History Museum. But it shows this is the new setup they have for the beryllium half spheres, that's all done mechanically, so that they won't have the problem that they had here with the screwdriver slipping, where they were doing it with just a screwdriver. So they have a much more safe, automated, computer-run setup that they use now. But it looks very, very similar to his reactor model. The new setup for this versus his reactor model. There's none of the physics of his reactor model make any sense. And recently on Joe Rogan, he changed up some of his story to talk about these proton conducting perovskites. Which, if you had proton conducting perovskites, they would produce the protons, and you wouldn't need the element 115, according to the way the element 115 functions in his descriptions and diagrams of the reactor. You wouldn't need element 115 if you had proton conducting perovskites, because they could just provide the protons for this reaction. Anyways, it's silliness, and if really the science is what you should focus on if you really want to know. That's what I focus on anyway. But again, we have Papoose Lake, Project 57. Look up Project 57. Corbell absolutely loses his mind when you start talking about and bringing up Project 57, and Jerry Friedman, and that's why he wrote this new article, lying his ass off to try to cover up to change the site. It's now Site 4, S4 is now Site 4, and he's changing up all his info on it because he's gotten called out about this fake base that's not really out there. They don't need Site 4 when they have Tonopah, China Lake, and also San Clemente Island, I was showing you guys before, that island out in the ocean's the best place to test stuff. It's got a whole exclusion zone for the U.S. Navy around it, U.S. naval waters, do not enter, you know what I mean? Anyways, yeah, the Philip Corso stuff, man. I'll talk about that a little bit more, because I'm putting together a whole research study on the real technology, and also sourcing it to the real scientists who worked on it. And I've been getting more and more stuff slowly. Pendry's really the big guy. He's the guy that coined the name metamaterials and really put it all together for them scientifically. John Pendry, this guy right here, he really brought the science to a head. But I don't think that this whole thing about the day after Roswell, man. These scientists, these are the three scientists that discovered the transistor, and they have physics papers. You can look this up. There's physics paper. I'm gonna get this material. I'm sourcing it down. I did this research before, and I have to track it down and put it all together. It's just I'm putting a lot of stuff up here. Haven't quite filled it out and finished it, but I will by Friday. These guys wrote physics papers on the solid state electronics, the solid state physics of how these materials worked, and basically they were working on all the stuff that, they had all the theory and they had all the materials and they had all the right stuff. I have no reason to believe that they didn't discover this naturally. They didn't discover the transistor and the effect, and according to the real story that they said, I don't see any evidence that the transistor came from alien technology. In fact, all the stuff that I've learned about researching, what alien technology really would be or how it would work, is it's built atom by atom. All the stuff we're learning about the quantum computers, they don't use transistors. They don't use electrons. They use photons. They use light. They use quantum computers, all right? And the way their quantum computers work are with these polaritons. And these polariton condensates and superfluids and optical phonons, and it's a whole different type of technology than what transistors. So the whole idea that was put forward, that's like the stupidest thing, because transistors are like, that's Stone Age technology compared to what aliens would have. Why would we how could we reverse engineer the transistor? And then it just completely insults these three guys, John Bardeen, William Shockley, and Walter Brayton at Bell Labs. So it just basically shits on these guys, and you guys didn't invent and discover this transistor. You aliens, you got it from aliens, and you stole it from aliens, and the government, you're part of some secret government project that reverse engineered this from aliens, and that's how, But dude, what we know now about quantum computers and photonics, they didn't reverse engineer no transistor from an alien spacecraft. Sorry. This is the real stuff. Again, metamaterials start with this Project Rainbow. Really, it started with this guy, Winston Koch, believe it or not, is the guy who really first discovered metamaterials. He didn't know what they were. His name was Winston Koch, and that's him right there, above right. And he was the director of the NASA's Electronics Research Center in Cambridge, Mass, from 1964 to 66. And this is what really, a lot of these guys' research and putting these pieces together really put a lot of pieces together too with other things for me. Because, another thing people ask me about is, do you think we went to the moon? And what about the biggest argument, the scientific argument for that we can't go to the moon or we didn't leave, Earth, is that the Van Allen radiation belts and the whole business about that. Well, the NASA scientists who did all the research into shielding for NASA to build like the shields, the electromagnetic shielding and stuff for the vessels, those guys were all related to the metamaterials research programs, and like I think one of them was Winston Koch, and another one was McDonald. This I don't know if it was McDonald. No. Edward Mills Purcell. This guy, Edward Mills Purcell. He was another scientist related to these classified programs, and he got the Nobel Prize for NMR. Believe it or not, nuclear magnetic resonance, and did a lot of research on how electromagnetic waves interact with matter, and a lot of these guys were the experts in that science at the time, and they were the ones who developed the shielding for the spacecraft that could protect against the Van Allen radiation belts. So that argument's bunk. But it does lead you to some other really cool classified research and stuff, which I thought was cool. But anyways, Dude, I had a bunch of kids come to my booth. There's this guy came to my booth at AlienCon, and he had like his son was like 13, and he was like, we had two kids actually, two young like teenagers come up to the booth that were really smart, and they like I showed them a ton of stuff about all this physics, and they were like totally eating it up. And I thought that was pretty cool, man. It was cool, but I need to do is get like I want like someone who's good at production that needs content that we can work together to put like videos out on all this stuff. And I want to start scripting all this stuff and writing a script on it. Because this deserves to have a whole documentary made about it, the whole history of metamaterials, man. That would be a really cool story. I would love to go out and interview some of these dudes, you know, or have a team go out and talk and interview these guys and just get all their stories. And this is David Perez. He's another guy I think is interesting. I want to go out and interview him. He's trying to build a warp drive in his garage using fractal metamaterials, and some of these interesting ways to produce what are called Dirac holes and Dirac cones, which are one of the physics things responsible. But let me see what I got here. Lower noise. Anyone texting me? Yeah, so they have. Oh man, this is cool stuff. I wish I could read that. I wish I could read it, your texts, man. I gotta read them after. I can't read all that and hold a show together at the same time. But man, I gotta get a video out and put some stuff together. So it's gonna happen, guys. I don't know what's gonna happen with this storm in Area 51 thing. I thought that was funny. What do you guys all think about that? You think it's pretty silly? So I had to make that the video title and get some people interested in talking about some stuff. But the Phobos 2 incident. Oh, is that where they? Is that in Doom where they open the portals between Phobos and Deimos and all the hell creatures started pouring out? There's a lot of talks about this portal technology and stuff about portals, man, and that stuff freaks me out more than anything. Cause it is somewhat theoretically possible to do, but it's just so mind-bending and boggling, like how does the speed of light conserved, and how are laws conserved if you could create just open up a portal, like I can make a Stargate and I'll join these 2 points in space and then I'll pull them apart. So if you walk through this circle, you come through that circle, even though they're whatever, I separate them, make these 2 Stargates and then take one to another place, and then you can travel through these portals. Weird stuff, man. And a lot of that research took place at this place, the Montauk facility, out on the edge of the island here. Is this Montauk Museum? I think it's the Montauk Museum, or that whole place on Montauk was where this research was apparently going on. But that's the whole Stranger Things stuff, man. That gets really beyond it bends my mind to think about that kind of stuff. But again, I don't have enough information on it. But my whole focus now, I think we really want to do is focus on the experiments, man. Because like I got all this stuff and I've been sharing all this information, but these people are like, oh, it's just theory. Well, it's not just theory, because a lot of these papers, written by people that are doing real experiments with this stuff and messing around. So it's not just theory at all. That's a lie. I haven't done enough experiments on my own, and I really got to get into doing some experiments. And one of the first things we wanted to do was, we've been looking into this Podkletnov experiment. I wanted to do the Podkletnov experiment because we want to look into it's really a material science search and study for what I believe is going on in the Podkletnov experiment, and our new study of it. Because what I believe is going on theory that we have that we're working with is that there are some sort of polariton condensate that's forming, and it's forming a surface of these excitons on the surface, and what happens is that they form direct holes or direct cones, and that antimatter effect is the antimatter is causing basically a disentanglement of the entire space-time fabric. It's breaking the space-time symmetries in those spots. Using quantum entanglement and the effects of antimatter, and what antimatter does is it's cutting off the quantum information exchanges and those quantum information loops, and breaking them, and that will, I believe, is a way to produce gravity shielding or gravity modification, according to the research that I've seen in the papers and the stuff that I've looked at. So I wanted to try a replication of this and kind of redo the Podkletov experiment, but look at it from this new angle with the polariton superfluids. I'm looking for evidence of polaritons in the Podkletov experiment. But the more I'm looking into it and trying to get all this stuff together to actually do this experiment, I'm realizing that we're going to need funding. Like, there's no doubt about it. And funding already is pretty much secured. I don't really need to make a whole big announcement and do like a whole crowdsource funding again like we did with Hover Brothers. Hover Brothers, man, I never gave like the full story of what went on with that. It's kind of just stupid, really. It's too long and stupid of a story, but it's basically Ken predated the contract, so that our contract started 6 months entirely prior to when we actually started the company. He predated the dates on the and for whatever reason he did this, I don't know, but he did it for 6 months back, and then he started going after all my financial records for the past 6 months, basically being like, oh, I need everything that you've had, all the money that you've been given, and I told him that I didn't have any money, and I thought I didn't, and then because I thought this money had been sent to me earlier, but it turns out it had been sent to me in June or July instead of, I thought, earlier in the year, and it was in that 6 months, and then he started getting all weird about this money that someone had sent me, because the person who sent it to me was a Russian-American person, and he started saying that this is like, they're going to think this whole thing's funded by the Russians. It's going to be like, Gaia or one of these other things. And he freaked out about the whole funding thing that was going on, because I had this anonymous Bitcoin donation from this guy that happened 6 months before we started the company, or even got involved in like talking about starting the company and doing stuff. And I just was like, all right, this is too much. I'm not going to be accused of working with the Russians and all this other stuff, because he was starting accusing me of lying and hiding the fact that I got this money, and then what was the real sources in this guy. And I just was like, dude, all right, if you're going this paranoid and getting this crazy this early on, maybe it's like we're just gonna call it quits and stuff, because I don't know if I believe if he's getting such a ridiculous theory about me after all the stuff that I've done, like. And working with this guy, talking to him every night, and getting to know him on a personal level, and then not trusting me like that and doing that, it's like I don't know if I can trust his theory anymore. But his theory was still really interesting, but I haven't talked to him in 2 years, really, a year and a half at least, since that whole falling out happened. The theory was still really interesting. I was hoping for him to release part 2 and 3, the second and third papers. We got the first paper. That first paper that he wrote about the combinatoric theory of relativity and all this stuff with the combinatorics, showing how to build a space-time continuum from combinatoric principles, and then this whole Phoenix theory of matrix formulation, or the most simplistic numbers of the most simplistic building blocks of the universe that you could condense it to, and that's what that would be if it really works and really is. The whole particle mapping seemed to work. It was really, really intricate and interesting when he showed me much more particles than the stuff that we released. I wanted to look. I'm still interested in pursuing it, but I don't know what happened to Ken, if he's got scooped up by a classified program after all the waves we created, and that he just disappeared. I don't know where he is or what he's working on or what he's doing, man. But Ken, if you're out there, I hope you publish part 2 and 3 of those papers, man. We really, appreciate digging into that stuff and having a look at it regardless. And yeah, that was the whole thing that happened. But we have funding. We have a whole bunch of people that reached out and gave us funding when we did that whole Hover Brothers thing. And then when the whole thing fell through, I had to go. I just decided it was best to would give all the money back and just end the thing. And then because he was going after my financial stuff, and all this craziness, and I'm like, I don't make any money. There's nothing to claim. I don't I don't, I go to work when I have to, if I have, and I do I have a more full-time job kind of now, and I've been so busy with work. I haven't had much time to do much else, but I'm just trying to save up my money right now because I'd like to fund the experiments myself if I could. Some of the stuff I can't though, you know what I mean? I'm gonna fund as much stuff we can by ourselves. I think in the next couple of months we got a bunch of simpler experiments that we can do with all the electrogravitic stuff, and that we can really tackle and get through. Ton of experiments that we want to try there, and that will be enough to get us started to get some more people interested again. And then once I get something more substantial going and some more, something more substantial to show for all the work, I want to get put out a call. And I still have all their email addresses and all the people that donated and were interested in being crowdsourced funders for the Hover Brothers project. I'm going to reach out to those people again with the new stuff for the new program with the Falcon Space program. But once it's ready, I'm going to really live that time to mature and get some more stuff going first before we drop that. But I really would. I don't want to take money. I'd rather have people we just post a list of the equipment that we need and people donate the equipment, or they say you can come do the experiments here. We have a laboratory at my school that someone from a university who has access to something could be oh, well, why don't you do it here? And remember that he's in New Jersey, I'm in Rhode Island. So anyone here on the East Coast that wants to get involved, we're trying to build a team to actually build this stuff like an independent crowdsource public team. I'm trying to look for the right people, trying to find the people with the right mindset and the right interests, the right connections. So if you're interested, thealienscientist@gmail.com, all one word, is my email address, and I would love for you to reach out, get in touch with me, or send this video to anyone you think might be interested. We're trying to build a team right now to get more experiments done, and get more information out there. As far as we have so much information that's out there. It's hard to sort through it all and know where to begin. I've done a lot of that analysis already, and now it's really time to go through and start doing actual experiments and see if we can get one of these things to work. And we got a lot of ideas and a lot of stuff and a lot of intel and a lot of research that's already been done that looks promising, that we want to try and replicate and really just be a secondary independent source out there for sifting through all the bullshit. I know there's a lot of people who you don't trust anybody and don't trust anybody. That's what I'm about. I'm about not trusting a lot of people because there's a lot of liars out there, man. So I'm really about doing this for myself to prove it to myself, and then I'll post my results online for people to see, and hopefully they see that I'm being as open and straightforward with it as we can, as we're on this doing this search. But anyways, I'm on Facebook. Yeah, hey, so check out my Facebook page. We still got the Hover Brothers Facebook page, and I have tons of articles. Every time I find a new article related to this stuff, anything related to this real research, man, I post it on this page. So you can go here on the Hover Brothers page and scroll down. You'll see tons of sources, man, of information. I just got info, all kinds of articles, all kinds of cool stuff. And I encourage people to go through all this stuff, and some of it's posted for fun and for but some of it's real. This is the real stuff about the if you want to look up and read about stuff, go on this page, man, and just keep scrolling down. keep scrolling down. I know it takes a while. There's a lot of links here, a lot of stuff you probably haven't heard of, and new information on just on propulsion. And here's our GoFundMe page too. Definitely share that with people. I got the link to this. This is hard to find, man. I go on GoFundMe and I can't even find this, but we got a little GoFundMe going to try and just raise a little bit of money for software, lab equipment, and setups and stuff. Not much going on with that just yet. I fund more than that out of my own pocket. Sometimes, I make a lot more than that in a day, so it's a lot easier and faster for me to just go to work and save up my own money than me to ask other people for money. Because one, I don't like doing it because people start like, oh, this guy's asking for money, and like, oh, all this guy wants is money. And then I got all those people on the Hubbard Brothers thing, like, that just coming and finding that video about the Phoenix theory. Oh, and I get tons of comments on there about people like just talking shit. They don't know the whole story. They don't know what happened. Oh, 2 years later, and what have you done? And oh, you're just taking money, and like, oh, and they don't know that we gave all that. We did raise money. We did give it all back, like, and now we have a new thing going, and I don't have problems getting money now. We've met a lot of people that have money, and that when shit gets serious and we have something ready, that the money will be there when it needs to be. So it's gonna happen. We're doing it, and this whole Bob Lazar thing, man, is gonna blow up. And I don't think Jeremy Corbell realized. He pushed so hard to get this out to the mainstream, and now it's mainstream. He was on Joe Rogan. He blasted this stuff out there, and now I don't think he's ready to handle it with like how big this has gotten. He's not. This is all gonna blow up in his face now. That it's only a matter of time. Bob Lazar is not going anywhere. He's projected in the mainstream, and now it's time for the analysts and then the people to do their work, man. And what I don't want to see happen is I don't want to see, I don't want to see like the media come out and totally debunk him and scoop this whole thing, and then don't show any people the real stuff. They use it as this excuse to be like, oh, this is all bullshit. Look, we debunked Bob Lazar, and this is all bullshit. And that's what I don't want to see, because it's not all bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit. This is one of the biggest pieces of bullshit in the whole field. It's one of the pillars of ufology. It has been for years. It's not an unknown case. It didn't need this new documentary that Jeremy Corbell did. It needed a real thorough investigation kind of a documentary. And this is just it just looks like, it stinks like a intel operation, like a COINTEL operation, or just some, I don't know. It's not quite that. It's not sophisticated enough, though. It's not smart enough to be that. It's just some guy trying to make money off this thing, and he wants to push it. He doesn't care if it's true or not. He just wants to believe it and make up lies. And then he blocks me on Twitter, so I can't even, like, I still tag him in all these posts and tag him on this stuff. And I see that he responds to it too, and he's going off on people, but I can't even read what he wrote because I can't see it because he's got me blocked. And it's just funny. These guys know exactly who we are, and they know that we're the enemy for them right now, because they're a bunch of liars. They're pushing disinformation, and we're going to show it for what it is. And I don't want the media to do it to, like, basically, I'm so afraid with all this stuff that they're doing. They're hyping all this UFO stuff up in the media. Is it to push disinformation and then disprove it so they can say it's all bunk? Like this, I have so many theories going in my head about why they're doing what they're doing right now and what's going to happen as a result of it. With this whole ATIP thing and the Nimitz, the New York Times covering it, the History Channel, it's all over the place, man. Even people at the bar talking about this stuff, like just regular people out there know about this. They've heard about it, a little bit about it. But what have they heard? It's not the real stuff. It's all this fake crap. It's it's that stupid video that they put out that Jeremy Corbell again was behind that video. this guy is, I don't know. I don't think he's in the movement for like the good I don't think he's one of the good people in the movement. I really, the more I'm coming to like look at this, I'm like, this guy's got to be like, I ever wonder, you know, how did this guy get it? Did he get approached? You know, it just, yeah, the Soviets' access to the top secret UFOs. That's so true, man. I want to unhide your comment, Craig. It looks to me like COINTELPRO, man. If this is it, because it's not the big and most important key thing. The element 115, 30 years later, none of the science checks out. All the science, we sourced back all the science on that element 115. And guess where it comes back to? Dude, a 1989 article. There's more sources too. We have tons of sources of people talking about the island of stability, the heavier elements, and this cap around element 114. They thought back then that there was this cap, you couldn't create elements heavier than that. Like there was some kind of cap or something going on there. And that's why he picked what he did. And I even know where he found the element, the 184 thing for the neutron number from. It's right here in the, you know, it's all right here in that article, that original article. Is, I guarantee you he read that article, because there's so much overlap. He read that article and he watched that I gotta put a link to the back to the homepage on here at the top, but he watched this special. This thing is key. This is Bombshell. I might move that to the top. It's got the government Bible, Area 51. Everyone's like, Bob Lazar was the first person to talk about Area 51. He blew the lid off of Area 51. He blew the lid off of it. He's the first person to make it like big, popular, and turn it into a tourist destination, because he got super popular. But there's something you need to know about why that happened. It's because a lie has speed. You know? A lie has speed. Lies travel quickly. But the truth has endurance, which means this is a test of time right now. Bob's mainstream, he's out there, and now it's a test of time, and it's only going to be a test of time before he gets exposed. And the information's out there. Bob Lazar debunks coming out. We got some stuff coming out too. Believe it, all that footage I was telling you about. We got more interviews and more footage. There's a documentary that's going to go out about this in the next year or so, and it's going to totally end this. And but again, that's all some other bullshit. And I know the people working on it, they're the top researchers on this, and I would love to put them all in a room in a panel and get them a debate going against George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, because we would bury those guys, seriously. But anyways, guys, I gotta go. It's that time. And check out my links, the Hover Brothers channel on Facebook there. I got tons of links to all kinds of stuff on there. Real good stuff, man. I'm doing some powerful research out there, whether you guys like me or not. And when all the smoke and all the dust clears, and all the smoke and mirrors clears, and all the dust settles, I'm going to come out on top of this game. I'm telling you that. So whatever. That all the things that I've been talking about are going to come to fruition. Not all the things, but you know what I mean. I'm closer than freaking most of these people claiming that they have a clue. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, whatever. I'm preaching to the choir. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon, man. I'm gonna have yeah, I would love to take a lie detector, man, and have you guys ask me anything you want. Sure, I would love to have put people on the lie detector test and stuff. Anyways, I gotta go, guys. Stuff's going on, but definitely thanks for watching, and tune in on Friday for another very interesting special on Bob.